Okay. Well, thank you for joining this webinar. I'm speaking to you from South Wales, where some of you may be joining me from, but I think there's people potentially joining from all over the country today. So welcome to the webinar. My name's Dr. Andrew Kerr, and I'm Director of Student Recruitment and a lecturer at Cardiff University in the School of Earth and Ocean Sciences. And okay, so the structure of the talk, a bit about myself, one slide, not too much. And then I'll say a bit as we go through about the different types of geography and geology degrees, and then various career options and case studies of some of our students and what they've gone on to do. So I'm a lecturer in igneous, that's volcanic geology at Cardiff University for the last 20 years, and I teach and lecture research about volcanic rocks from South America, the Caribbean, China and Australia. And for a significant proportion of the time I've been at Cardiff, I've also been in charge of recruitment and admissions. So I've seen a lot of students come and go through the system and seen where they've gone on to and things they've done subsequently. So we'll basically just outline the various types of geography and geology degrees. So starting with geology, there's your basic geology degree, and then there's applied geology. The two main types of applied geology are either exploration geology or environmental geoscience. The same is true for geography. You can do a degree in basic, straight geography, or you can choose to do something that's more applied. And this is tended to be the type of degrees that we offer in Cardiff, more applied geography degrees. So the main types of applied geography degrees are environmental geography, physical geography, and quite a specialized one, marine geography. I'm not going to talk about human geography in this talk, but it's just put in here for the sake of completeness. Me being a geologist, I don't know very much about human geography. So this is about geology and physical geography type degrees, because geology is actually closer to physical geography probably than human geography is closer to physical geology. So an important point to note is, and I'm sure that most of you are probably doing geography at the minute, fieldwork is vital to virtually all geography and geology degrees. And it also plays a big part in a lot of the careers, as we'll see, that geology and geography graduates ultimately end up doing. Just a few examples of the type of fieldwork that students at Cardiff end up going on. So a key point is that I appreciate that most of you are doing either A-level geology or geography, or maybe both. To do a geology degree, you don't need to have done geology or geography at A-level. And for many geography degrees, they actually don't require A-level geography these days. I was quite surprised when I looked that up recently. There are a few that still require, but there's some that a significant proportion now that don't. And for applied geography courses, a good science, maths background is very suitable. So we'll go through the various degrees and what they entail and type of careers you can get. I should say that these degrees are by no means, these career options are by no means exhaustive. They're just given as examples. There's a whole host of other options that you could pursue as well with geography or geology degrees. So geology is basically how rocks and minerals are formed, fossils, past environments, earthquakes and volcanoes. But it's more than that. It's about how geology impacts on our lives today, because it is an understanding of geology is an important role to play in many aspects of society, geologists play a central role. They help find sustainable sources of water, energy, minerals, and play an important role in helping to mitigate natural hazards and assessing land for various construction enterprises, such as factories, houses, bridges, roads, and so on. So some of the examples of careers geologists can go on and do, some of our graduates have gone on and done: engineering geology, hydrogeologists, geologists that are concerned with water, and this is going to become increasingly important with an ever-expanding population and climate change. Areas of the world becoming short of water. The role of a hydrogeologist is going to become very important. And then there's mineralogists who, there's lots of applied aspects of things like mineralogy and ceramics and industries like this. And then there's environmental consultants, people that go on site and advise on environmental issues. But also, and this is true of all the degrees, and all geography and geology degrees really, you gain a wide range of transferable skills for many different careers. And it's probably a geography or geology degree, I struggle to think of another degree where you could end up with as wide a range of transferable skills, and this means that geography, geology graduates have gone into, wide range of industries: insurance, finance, education, planning, in addition to the more specialized careers that I'll mention in the talk, but just to flag that up. So here's an example of one of our students, Samantha Needs, and she works for the International Energy Agency, and she's, with her geology degree, she's using this to help evaluate carbon dioxide capture and storage technologies, and helps to manage various technical studies and evaluations across the world. So geology is not just about rocks, also an increasing aspect of geology that is very applied towards particularly environmental and sustainability issues. And here's another example of Sarindi Ravi, and she's studying for a doctorate at the minute. She did her undergrad degree with us, and she's studying for a doctorate, as I say, in Arizona State University, and she's looking at images that have been sent back from the moon by NASA's new Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter mission. So she's looking at using the GIS and the remote sensing that she learned in her degree to help us to understand more about the surface of the moon. So geology can even take you into aspects of planetary science. And there's exploration geology. And this is principally about the formation of oil, coal, natural gas, because we understand where these form. It helps you to find new occurrences of these minerals, oil, gas, and water. But it's much more than that these days. Nowadays, it's not just simply getting the raw materials out of the ground and not caring about the environment. Nowadays, they have to be explored for sustainably to meet future demand. And a big growth part of exploration geology these days is looking for particularly metals, things like lithium and other metals, which are used in green technologies. And they're very important. Lots of minerals are very important, and metals are very important in that regard. And exploration geologists can also go into engineering geology. So we have a range of career options. We've talked about the mineral or oil exploration, but some you mightn't think about is some using computing skills. So mining software analyst. There's lots of high-powered computing involved these days in mining, and working out where the best places to mine most profitably, sustainably. And then geophysical surveying, helping to find water, oil, things like this. Engineering geology, as we've already mentioned. And then an aspect which you mightn't think of, commodities analyst. This is somebody who works in finance, basically, and helps work out market sources for the supply and demand of particular minerals and metals. So the practical and business focused aspects of exploration geology again give a range of transferable skills for a wide variety of careers. And this is an example of one of our graduates from a few years ago, Rhys Plummer. He worked for a time in Australia's Northern Territory for a uranium and rare earth element exploration company. And rare earth elements are very important in new technologies. Probably a whole stack of the there's 14 rare earths, and they're you probably find most of them are in your mobile phone. So it's very important minerals and metals such as this. And recently started a new job in Tasmania helping to develop a new copper mine. And of course, copper is very important for bringing electricity to a significant portion of the world that doesn't have electricity. And then this is the example of somebody who's gone into finance as a result of an exploration geology degree. This is Michael Finch. He works as a commodities analyst in London for a big mining and metals consultancy. And he's responsible not so much for the mining, but for generating reports which have to generate income for his company, quite substantial amounts of income. So, environmental geoscience. Well, environmental geoscientists are chief among the people who help predict hazards such as floods, earthquakes, volcanoes, but they also help to clean up dangerous waste from former industrial sites. And they also assist in helping engineers plan to build new roads, tunnels, or buildings. And as we're all aware, there's increasing environmental threats and challenges, so the knowledge and skills of people like environmental geoscientists are going to be in increasing demand. So environmental geoscientists can help to develop sustainable infrastructure, green energy, as we've already mentioned, land remediation, managing, removing pollution, but also conservation, environmental management. We'll see some examples of some of our graduates who've gone on to do things like that. We also work in the water industry, and as environmental consultants, broader environmental consultants. And again, I keep going back to this, but transferable skills, wide range of transferable skills again with this degree. So here's an example of one of our graduates, Rosie Gornell, who is now works as an engineering geologist for the big construction firm Mott MacDonald, and she's been working on roads, rail, hospital, schools, wind farms, hydroelectric schemes, and basically she investigates before they start to do the work the ground conditions and how the ground conditions will impact the design of these developments. And another example, Gemma Raffape, she works for this company which advises on contaminated land risk for property transactions. That's what she did initially, and now for the same company she project manages building energy reports and helps provide advice on the sustainability of the energy systems and buildings for clients. And she also does some part-time work for the Green Building Council and helps to organise sustainability-focused events where they share knowledge with local communities, local companies, and local councils and things like that. So on to the more geographical degrees, and this is marine geography. Now, marine geography is quite a specialised discipline. There's not many places in the country where you can do marine geography, but Cardiff is one of them. Often, the marine geographers in Cardiff often say that Cardiff was the birthplace of marine geography. It was the first place in Britain you could do marine geography. So the degree's been run for 30 or so years. But basically, I saw a stat on Twitter recently that only 1/5 of the ocean floor is actually mapped, which somebody that's worked a bit on the oceans and undersea volcanoes surprised me. I thought it was more than that. But it's you'll often hear it say that that the surface of the moon is mapped better than the floor of our oceans. So the ocean really is the last major frontier on Earth for exploration and discovery. So marine geographers can help solve physical, hydrographical, and managerial issues relating particularly to the oceans, but also to its coastlines and hinterlands. So marine geographers can help tackle current and future marine climate challenges. A lot of our marine geographers go into conservation and helping to protect habitats, environmental management, wildlife management, things like this. But they also help ensure that marine industries, and so we're talking things like fishing, tourism, shipping, and also renewable energy, when you consider tidal barrages and offshore wind farms and things like that, that these are developed sustainably. And the types of jobs that marine geographers have gone on to do are hydrographic surveyors, conservation officers that we've mentioned, environmental consultants, particularly in the marine environment, and port authority officers for various ports around Britain and indeed the world, and marine geospatial analysts. And again, we have many skills that other sectors like insurance, finance, and so on are looking for. And here's Emma Evans, one of our graduates from a few years ago, and she's a project manager for a coastal ecological mapping project in the south of England. And she's responsible for planning and undertaking these ecological surveys along the coast, and organises them and assists in quality control, data and reporting, and then providing reports to local councils, local authorities, things like that. Another marine geographer who works now in a bit more of an exotic location, James Wichellow, he undertook a 6-month internship at a field station in the Bahamas as part of his placement year for his degree. And after graduation, he was lucky enough to be offered a chance to return as assistant manager. And the email to me, he described it as his dream job. I'm sure working in the Bahamas is a dream job. But his job involves research in the biology of sharks and rays and the role that these marine organisms play in the marine ecosystem. And you've got environmental geography, and this is about how the Earth functions and the science behind the human impact on the planet over time. And environmental geographers have a wide range of skills to help solve lots of environmental problems in a wide range of geographical locations, from the poles to the temperate climates to tropical coral reefs. And they are increasingly sought after due to increasing pressure from climate change, overexploitation, pollution, habitat destruction. And they have a vital role to play in a greener, low carbon future, and helping to find solutions to all these problems, but not only solutions, but solutions that are environmentally sustainable. And the type of roles that environmental geographers can end up doing are environmental advisors, software analysts, environmental consultants, pollution monitors, and again, a range of transferable skills. You'll be sick of hearing transferable skills by the time I'm finished. But it is really one of the most significant things of a geography or geology degree are the transferable skills, which open up a wide range of career paths. So here's Lawrence Doughty. He works currently as a conservation officer for the Bermuda National Trust, and he's responsible for managing a significant part of the island in terms of its wildlife, conservation, property management, and assessing the impact of various initiatives on the environment. So a very critical role for a delicate ecosystem like Bermuda. And then some of our environmental geographers have gone into the water industry. And Sophie Crew is a development scientist for Wessex Water, and she's involved a lot in monitoring the quality of water and looking at instances of pollution, and trying to improve compliance of companies and local authorities to industrial effluent discharge regulations. And she does a lot of work in that regard. So that's another aspect of the water industry, is where a lot of graduates can end up. And then we've got an example of somebody who's gone into more of a surveying role. This is Kate McGalliot, who is a graduate surveyor for this company. She initially worked in Madagascar and as a surveyor, but now she conducts coastal oceanographic and hydrographic surveys around the UK for this company that she works for. And then finally, we've got physical geography. And how physical geography, people wonder how physical geography differs from environmental geography. Physical geography is subtly different. Environmental geography is more about the human impact of on the geographical world, whereas physical geography is more about how the Earth works, glaciers, rivers, landslides, coastal processes, and so on, and also focusing on global hazards and how landscapes evolve over time. And as we know, climate change is happening, but also associated landscape changes. All this means that the knowledge and skills of people who understand the physical geographical world are in demand, are going to be increasingly in demand. Physical geographers use an understanding of Earth processes to help find sustainable solutions to some of the grand challenges which humankind faces and will face over the next 50, 100 years. So they get employed in a wide range of different industries, different roles in government agencies, companies, consultancies, and they can do things like technical geographical specialists, geospatial analysts, environmental advisors. Just a flavour of the careers, but there's a wide variety of careers that our geographers and geologists have gone into, as I've said. So here's an example of one of our graduates, John Griffiths. He's currently an Antarctic meteorologist who works for the British Antarctic Survey, and his job involves being based at this Haley 6 base in Antarctica, involve meteorological measurements and analysis of these, and I think he lives a significant proportion of the year in these pods that have been assembled in Antarctica. And of course, the only way you can get about is by plane. And then back in this country, Nicole Kirk currently works as a graduate waste management officer for a local council here in South Wales, and she's responsible for helping to manage domestic waste and recycling of the council area that she works in, and ensuring there's compliance with the council's recycling policies. So just to summarize this, you can break down geography and geology degrees where you actually use your degree, because lots of people go and they just use the transferable skills. They don't necessarily use the subject matter of the degree, but they take the transferable skills and they use the transferable skills. But where they do use the subject matter of the degree, you can break it down into two broad areas, and that's environment and agriculture. And you can see things that we talked about here, like water quality scientists, environmental consultants, waste management officers, water engineers, and then the energy and utilities. You've got things like mining engineers, hydrogeologists, surveyors, geoscientists, chemists, geochemists, things like this. Now, after your first degree, that may be enough, and a lot of people, 60, 70% of people, that's enough for them. They go off and get a a job either using their subject matter of the degree or using their transferable skills. But a lot of people go on for further training, in which case they go on and do a master's. And these are 1-year specialist courses after you graduate in more specialized topics. And the type of specialized things that our graduates have gone on to do are hydrogeology, applied geotechnics, environmental risk management, sustainability, water resources, waste management, and so on. And you can do ones in climate change these days. But people have also gone on to do PGCEs and ended up teaching, or like me, they have gone on to do a PhD, a doctorate, and that's a 3-year research degree. I just noticed this the other day. It was on the government website, and they saw that looked through the United Kingdom list of shortage occupations, and one of the shortage occupations listed under physical scientists are things like engineering geologists, hydrogeologists, geophysicists. So these are careers that and job roles that the government sees in the future the country will have a significant need for. This is why they're flagged up on this shortage occupation list, and you can see the web address for it down the bottom. You can look through it, but it's significant that some of the careers we've talked about are on the United Kingdom shortage occupation list. So the bottom line is that with a geology or physical geography degree, you can help to make a difference to environmental matters, to the sustainability of the planet. So it's if you're looking for a degree which can help you to make a difference to the world, this may just be it. So you have two options. If anybody wants to ask me any questions on the chat facility here, they can. Or if you don't want to ask the question in a public domain, feel free to email me.